All right, hi everyone. This is a tutorial for the miter joint form. As you can see on the right here, this is what we're going to try to model. It's the same dimensions as the butt joint, um, and just for consistency, but we're going to do this parametrically or in a parametric way. And just a quick note about that. Um, so in some sense, when you work on a piece, you have this, when you work on a model, you have this history down here. And in some sense, this is considered parametric design, parametric modeling. Um, but, what we're trying to do is use the functions because it'll allow us to change the different dimensions of your forms when it comes to your composition. Okay, so just like last time, we're going to have very similar steps. First thing we're going to do is create our parameters, and we'll need the same parameters, but because we're going to be mixing and matching different components, um, I'm going to name this parameter, since it's a miter joint, m, lowercase m, height, and our height was 4 inches. Enter. Add another parameter. I'm going to this one miter width, and the width was 5 inches. Enter or press OK. I'm going to add a third parameter, and this is going to be the length. So I'm just going to name it m length, and the length was 8 inches. The last thing is the thickness. I'm going to name this m thick, and the thickness is 1/2 inch. You can press OK or press Enter, it doesn't matter. We have our parameter set. I'm going to click OK. And let's start with the drawing. There are a few different ways to do this. Um, this is an example on how to just create a form and then create drawings on top and cutting it up into different sections, and then having to put back together certain sections. It's fairly complicated, so we're going to try to do it a different way, and that's by making the drawing mitered already before, uh, instead of cutting into it. So I'm going to press sketch. We're mostly always going to start with the sketch. Be aware of where you are, and let's say this is top, this is the front. I'm going to choose um, I'm going to call it the left side. You can call it the ZY axis plane, but in any case here. And if you can't see this, you can just turn on the origin point. This is the origin point. So I'm going to click on this one because I'm going to extrude to the right. So it takes us to our drawing plane, and this is where we start creating our rectangle. I'm going to choose the rectangle tool, start at the origin, go to the right. I'm not pressing anything. And here, this is where I enter, since this is going to be the height, because I'm going to pull to the right. So M height, yeah, and it's, just, I think it's thinking it's a meter, M height, and that's 4 inches. I'm going to press tab, But even if you click this accidentally, we can always go back and choose the dimensions tool. Click on this, um, and then we can put the width, M width. And there we go. So if we go back to our drawing, we're going to need to be, this is going to have to be hollowed out, right? Because you can see these dashed lines means that the center is hollow. So if we plan ahead, we can do that partially with the drawing. I'm going to introduce a new tool. This is the offset tool under the modify tab. So just very quickly, these up here are different sets of menus. And you will mostly be working right here. When you go into a sketch like we are now, you'll be working in the sketch tab. And then these sub tabs, you will mainly be working create and modify, right? So today we're going to introduce a new tool. It's called offset. And it does what you think it does. I'm going to click on the tool and then click on the lines I want to offset. So here you can see, if I move this around, it offsets the line. And what I want is the thickness. So, and take care to notice that right now, if I wanted to go in this direction, it has to be negative. You could either flip it. Oh, no, you can't. Okay, never mind. So if I put M thick, it's going to go to the outside. But since these are functions, you can alter them using signs, numbers, and math. So if I put a negative in front of it, excuse me, that's my thickness. And I know that these cuts have to be mitered. I know these are parallel, and that means that this point is square with this point. So all I have to do now is draw lines. So I'm going to press, you can press L for a line, or come up here and click on the line tool under the Create tab. And I'm going to hover over the point until it clicks, press, do it again, and that's it. And I'm going to repeat this to create my miters. So we have a drawing for our miter box. I'm gonna finish the sketch. So now, instead of extruding the whole object, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn on the origin so you can see. And this white space is a little disconcerting. I'm gonna turn on, actually, no, it's fine. Let's do it this way. I'm gonna turn this two-dimensional image, two-dimensional sketch into a three-dimensional form. To do that, I'm gonna use the extrude tool under the create tab in the solid uh, tab. So when you press the extrude tool, it's going to ask you what profile slash sketch do you want to extrude. So this is my front, and I can tell because of the little cube here. I'm going to extrude to the right, and you can really choose any of these, and I'm going to extrude M length. We've already used M width and M height, so the only one is M length. Okay, wait. So at this point, you should be creating a new component. just like last time. But I know I forget, and I'm sure you might forget. So if I just click on this and make a new body, it's okay. I'm going to go up here where my body is. You see, if I click on it, it'll highlight the part. Right click and create components from body. You only want to create components from one body, even if you have multiple bodies, because if you click on all the bodies and click create component, it'll create a separate component for each body. So if you have multiple bodies that you want to turn into one component, just turn one of the bodies into a component and drag the rest in afterwards on this tree. Now our body is under our component. I'm going to label this miter drum. Great. So we only have one part so far. I'm going to click on the circle so the history that's captured will only be under this component. And that way we can export this component and still be able to make changes later. So I'm going to keep extruding to make my box. I'm going to press the extrusion tool under the create tab. And this distance remains the same. It should be M length. The only thing you have to be careful of is that in the extrudes window, it's going to automatically want to join or cut it. What you want to do is make sure to click on new body, because they need to be separate parts. That's the whole reason why we're extruding it this way. Again, extrude. I'm going to choose my profile, and it's asking me for the length, and the length is M length. Again, it wants to join, but don't let it. New body instead. Great. We have one more. Excuse me. Extrude tool. Click my sketch, and the length is M length. And we're not joining, we are making a new body. So every body that you make is going to be under your current component. That's why I want you to click on this little white dot, make sure it's black, so you capture all this history. So now we have 4 parts. They are not fully a 45 degrees. Um, no, we'll do that later. So now we have to create the top or the left and the right of the form. And if we look, this is the inspection tool. If you just press it, and if you click on a line, it'll give you a measurement of the lengths and angles. But I'm just going to show you that this is already 8 inches. So if we turn on our sketch, our original sketch, I'm just highlighting it. It is at the same plane as the very end of the form. So in order to build the end cap here, I'm going to use the same drawing. This can get a little bit tricky because again, it's going to want to join everything. So just bear with me for a second. So I have my drawing. It's not going to want to select, it's going to select the body before it selects the drawing when you're extruding. So if you press the extrude tool under the create tab, I want to make a solid end cap, right? And I want it to be M thick. Press enter. See, it's going to want to cut. So let's say no, we want a new body, please. I'm going to press OK. And now I understand that they're occupying the same space right now, right? It turns on and off. But we need that because we need all the miters to match, right? So this is a whole piece, and I like perspective. Okay, turn the drawing off. Hopefully it doesn't. Oh yeah, the lines are here because it's occupying the same space. So instead of creating another drawing, uh, I'm going to introduce a new function to a tool that you're already familiar with. So under the Modify tab, there is the Move tool, which you should have already used by now. I'm going to click on it. Um, I'm going to hide my other bodies for now. And I am going to choose the end cap here. And I'm going to place the moving control at this very corner. It'll make things much easier. And then before moving anything, you need to check create copy. So now we have our cap selected, and if you can see here, it's already created a copy. I'm going to turn on the other bodies so you can see them, and we're simply going to pull, and then since this is at the corner, I want it to match this corner, all I have to do is press in the corner and press OK. And it copied my end cap. There's another way you can see inside. So here are different tools under display settings and visual style. You can usually select shaded with visible edges only, but if you press shaded with hidden edges, you'd be able to see inside. You can also press the inspect section analysis tool. It's going to ask you to select a plane. I'm going to choose this plane, and it's going to ask you where you want it to cut. And this is not a real cut. This is a temporary visual cut just for analysis. And you can turn it on and off up here. It's not going to alter your form at all. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this back to um, visible edges only. I'm going to turn off my end caps. Let's just start with one of these forms. So I have these edges mitered, but I don't have these edges mitered. To do that, I'm going to introduce a new tool. Under the Modify tab, it's called Draft. It's right here. I have already pinned it to the top of my Modify tab, but if you have already, no, this is chamferms. I guess I haven't. Draft should be in this folder, or I mean in this drop-down menu. Okay, the first thing you want to do, it's going to ask you a pull direction, but the pull direction also selects which side you want to start with. You always choose the outside and make sure that the arrow is pointing inwards. And to do that, you can just click on the arrow or press this little tab. So make sure it's the arrow is facing towards the inside because that's what we're going to draft. Then it's asking you which faces do you want to draft. I'm going to click on the ones I want to miter. And if you see here, see what happens. So we want 45 degrees. So I'm going to enter 45 and press enter. So now one of our pieces is mitered. So at this point, we can do two different things. We can do the same thing we did with the end caps and make a copy of this and turn it around, or we can simply use the draft tool. It's up to you. I think it might be easier to use the draft tool. So I'm going to click on the outside, make sure the arrow is pointing in, and then I'm going to choose the sides I want to draft. And it's always going to be 45 degrees. There we go. So I'm going to do the same with the other forms. You don't have to like take these off. I think it might be easier for you to see. That's why I'm doing it. You can do it while everything is attached. Like we'll do it with this one. Draft, not split body. Draft. I'm going to click on the outside. I want to draft inward, and these are the edges I want to, and I want them to draft 45 degrees. Not there yet. Still need this one. Okay. Draft. Click on the outside. Let's draft inward, and these are the edges I'm going to draft 45 degrees. Hey, we're almost done. So as you can see here, we still need to miter the two end caps. And we'll do it the same way. The other thing I could have done is made one end cap, drafted the end cap, and then copied it. But I think this is much easier to visualize, and I think you could use the practice. On the draft, press on the outside, make sure the arrow is pointing in, choose the sides on a draft. In this case, it's actually all of the sides. I want them to be 45 degrees. Look at that, in one step. Okay. Draft, look on the outside, pointing in. These are the sides I want to miter or draft, and I want them at 45 degrees, not 45G. There we go. So now I know it looks like a solid box, but if we use the analysis tool, we can see that it's hollow and it's mitered. So I'm going to save this. Again, save this in your cohort project folder under your name under miter journey. And now I want to make a cut list. So I'm going to save this as miter joint, keep it the same, just add cut list. So now we're working on a different file, so we can move this around. And same thing as the previous one. All we're doing is flattening everything to one plane so we can make a cut list. I'm going to turn off the origin. Okay. This is the move tool. We use the move tool to move and to copy, but now we're just moving. I'm going to click on the outside, rotate it 90 degrees, and move it off to the side. And I want it to be all the same plane, so I'm going to press down. And since my origin point or my pivot point is on this surface, if I click on this other surface, it'll match it. But you have to click on the pull tab first. Okay. Let's move this one. 45. Oh, this is actually 180 degrees. I do it upside down. I'm going to do this next to it. And pull a line. Okay. I can start seeing here, and you can check with this, the measurement tool. Um, this is 4 inches, and this is 5 inches. Let's move this one 90 degrees. And I know this is the same width as this one. Pull a little bit and then align. And you can actually do the same thing with align them horizontally or vertically, but you have to set a different pivot point. To do that, you could, well, let's see if this works actually. If I press the right, no, there's no center point. Okay, so I press set pivot. I'm going to choose this corner. I'm going to press OK, check mark. Then I'm going to pull to the right, to the left, doesn't matter, a little bit. And then I'm going to align these two. So it works in any direction. It just depends on where you put your pivot tool. Let's move this one, it's already flat. And then end caps. And so here we can see that these are 5 by 4. So we can either choose to rip on the 5 or on the 4. But if we rip on the 5, then we have to cut 4. Oh, no, we can't rip twice. It would have to be a cross cut. You can choose either. So I'm just going to choose to cut this, put this in the 4-inch ripping line. Ninety degrees. 90. Excuse me. I rotate this so I can put it in the ripping, the 4-inch ripping part. Make it somewhat even. You take the time to align all of these, but for something this simple, you don't really need to do that. Okay. So at this point, you can create another drawing to kind of figure out how much material you need. I'm just going to save this, and it might be faster to just create a drawing, which you have to do anyways. Let's go create a drawing from this so we can see how much material we need. There we go. New drawing from design. Here I imagine it's going to look like this to you. For now, it doesn't matter. I just want you to get used to the idea of creating these drawings. It can be either orientation, and it's going to say leave everything as is. It's going to want to reference the full assembly, which is perfect. Later on, you can play with these, and it's going to create a new drawing. We press OK. Now, hey, okay. thing happen. So usually, I'm going to delete this starter off over. So that's usually it's going to do this, right? You're going to come in with your cursor and your part floating. You don't have to click on this yet. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to place it for now. I want it to be a little bit bigger, so let's do straight 10. Nope, 7, 8. Oh, it's going the other way. That's fine. And I don't want to see the front. I just want to see the top right now. Okay. So here we can use a dimension tool under dimensions, and we can get all of our dimensions for our cutting, our ripping and cross cutting. And then I'm going to do it really quickly from all the way over here, this end, and vice versa. So um, remember that each cut that you do is going to take off 1/8 of an inch because that's the thickness of the blade. So just to be safe, I will buy a piece of MDF that is 30 inches by 12 inches to make our cuts. Um, I'm going to save this as a drawing and also export this as a PDF so you can look at it on your phone or print it out or whatever you need to do so you know exactly what you need to cut and how to cut it. It's important to develop a cutting plan before you start cutting. Right here where it says save to my computer, you can choose where on your computer it saves. I'm gonna go video tutorials. Yep, save. And that's it.